Hello, everybody, and a beautiful day. Finally, the weather outside is pure summer. I was missing it for a while, and I hope the weather is fine in your country, your place where you are as well. In this video, and a little bit of added information together about life, about our struggles, about our worries, about basically our major things about life. And the topic I made was don't touch life. It means like don't try to make any effect or affect in your life. Don't try to change something in your life. And I will just give a brief information why. So like maybe for like 5 years now, or maybe 6 years now, we were channeling the Enrico beings from other dimensions and they always are telling us like don't worry about things, like let the joy be with you, allow your true inspiration to blossom through, to shine out of you, be that, like be in this state, be that state. And these things, like to us, to me especially in the beginning, where I understand what he thinks, I understand his idea, but I just don't get it. Why? Why shouldn't I like do something? Why should I change? Why shouldn't I do that and this or something else? It's like there are these like wise words from some gurus, some spiritual masters, and etc. But you understand what is he saying, but why is that? You don't have the experience, you don't have the understanding. Why is that? He was maybe meditating in a cave for like 20 years, and he came out of this cave and he said, yeah, don't worry about life, just enjoy life. And then there are these bunch of people in normal day-to-day life which are working hard, doing hard, being hard, and they don't just get it. How is it just enjoy life? What are you talking about? What does it mean, and why? How does this work? Then we maybe understand. Yeah, this works in a way. Yeah, you don't worry and things solve out by themselves, but you just don't get it. How does it work, and why is it working? So whenever we try to change something in our lives, for example, there are in the last Enrico's channeling, which was yesterday, somebody was asking him something, and he said, well, a flower blossoms somewhere, like a blossom blossoms somewhere, like a flower blossoms somewhere, and then it fades away, and it dies out. And when it dies out, a new blossom is born. The same energy goes there, and a new flower is born. And whenever we do positive on one side, just to maintain the balance of the universe, something negative will happen on the opposite side. Like we are trying to do good here, but on the opposite side there is somebody doing bad. For example, somebody is cutting down trees somewhere, and it makes so many people feel that we want to plant trees, that we want to now plant those trees back. So universe always creates the opposite side of that, and it's a way of balance. It's like a way of balance, and it always is in a balance, like equal amounts of female, equal amounts of male on this planet, etc. So it's in a way of finding and being and putting things into balance, right? So the idea is, whenever we try to, for example, the thing applies also in the same situations, like we are having like job struggles or life struggles or whatever we are having, we are willing to change it. We are willing to do it. We are willing to make things change, make things happen, make things better. But as soon as we start doing that, as soon as we start making things better in our lives or trying to save the world from something, the opposite side will be created. Just like that, an opposite side will be born somewhere. So whenever we are trying to, I don't think the correct word is possessed, but that's a word that I think, or position, or attain, or have some kind of good idea about something, it's already the universe telling you we need to balance a negative side, or we are trying to, doing something negative, we are trying to balance the positive side. So basically, if like aggressively focused good people that we want to fight for peace, we want to fight for ecology, we want to fight against disasters or something, or we are so evil, we want to do evil, etc. The universe, just to maintain its balance, will create the opposite side. So from the spiritual perspective, it's also, why should we even do something, or why should we try to change something if everything of life, if everything of the overall reality or the life where we are by itself is trying to find balance. It's seeking for the balance. The life itself seeks for balance. So why should we try to change something? Why should we go and fight for or against something? Why should we make evilness? Why should we make goodness? Why should we make something from our minds, thinking that this is something that, like a public mass hypnosis, like fighting for the peace, global peace, we're fighting against crime, fighting against illness, fighting against weird viruses, fighting against this, fighting against corruption, etc. Why do you need to fight against it? Why do you need to fight? You will just create the opposite even more, and thus you will create the overall unbalance of the life itself. So like another comparison would be how you can look at it from this perspective. Everything in life is in harmony. Something somewhere borns and something somewhere dies. That's like normal, what we understood. I would say that normally there are equal amounts of people being born every day, and there are equal amounts of people being died every day. So that's the way of life. That's the way of life. That's like the harmony of the life, and the harmony of life is there for a reason. It's not an accident. It's a really smart, let's say, an algorithm. It's a really smart way of God, you would say. It's a really smart, and it's there for a reason. It's not an accident, like many people say. Duality is not an accident, and that's true. That's completely true. So what I want to share about this was that there's another story. Like, for example, people try to fight against the laws of the universe. Like, for example, in a family, maybe a child has like an organ disability. For example, an organ fails. May it be kidneys or heart, whatever. And they are fighting against it. They want to, they want to save the life. They want to, by their mind, they want to do everything that is possible to save its life. That's what normally what people do. They don't allow the balance of the universe to happen by itself. They don't allow the let's say the karmic wheel to spin by itself. They don't allow the wind to blow where the wind should be blowing. They don't allow the river float where it should be flowing. They try to change it. They try to push it somewhere. They try to make effects of some sort against those things. So how universe balance these things out, that you will save, you need an organ replacement or something, but on the opposite side somewhere on the opposite side, like these, where are these really bad situation countries where people just sell their children for organ donors. They just brutally, take out organs from children without putting even them to sleep. And I saw these videos and I was like, oh my God, I was like, for 2 months, I was like out of order. I was completely, sad and depressed about this. So in a way also, those positive people in modern hospitals trying to save a child's life, in the opposite life, somebody's life is being taken in a brutal way because the universe needs to find balance. So what would be the harmony? What would be the harmony? The harmony would be to just, I will not tell this because I started to talk about this, but this is the idea. This is the idea of harmony, how life is a way about balance. So if one on the positive side are trying to make it more positive, allowing the life force or the life itself to take its path, to take its way, to take its direction, or to move its way, that on the other side, the opposite thing of that is created, like the darkness is created, or the taking the life away is created. So the way of harmony would be just allow the life would happen. And I think in our nature, like nature around, the only things that are in harmony are animals, and everything around it except human. If it understands that it's my time, and it just allows to fade out, it doesn't fight, it doesn't, the life is like throwing the dices. Okay, somebody has to go because somebody is willing to be born, right? I was thinking about this. No, I wasn't thinking about this. Enrico was talking about this from a different perspective, and then I thought it applies to many, many things in our life. No, not many. It applies to all things. Now, this is really interesting, but it applies to all things. We don't need to fight to make changes in our life. The more we allow the life itself balancing mechanism or the algorithm or the life force to work its path, to be in its path, everything and all things in life will find its comfortable place. Like there is a wind blowing outside. Don't try to hold the flag, which is like from the wind. Don't try to hold it straight. Don't try to make it look better. You will maybe break it, and you will spend maybe so much effort to do that. Allow it to be there. Allow it just to stay there, and the wind will stop by itself at some point, and the flag will be in its perfect condition back once more. So it applies to many things, that whenever we try to make or put effort to change something, we create the complete opposite, and that complete opposite sooner or later will be back to haunt us. We'll be back there to haunt us back again, and then we'll try, okay, now there's a negative thing going on, I need to change it again. And we're just making positiveness, negativeness, and even higher and higher and higher volatility. But when we start allowing the life force to go, life to be, all things come back to the true natural state, to the true blissful, harmonious state, which is, I think, what the most spiritual masters and monks are doing. There was one information from the channeling about highly developed spiritual teacher which lived somewhere in the mountains. Hi, Danica. I will read your question a little bit later. And he explained the spirituality. This is also from the channeling. He explained the spirituality in a very like a divine or pure way to me. Like I understood it completely. And he said, whenever you are highly evolved, I mean, in spirituality, whenever you are that, you realize that you're not supposed to make any effect to the samsara people, to those who live in samsara. What I understood from samsara is that these are just people that think, do, run, yell, scream, buy, sell, run all over the place. They are in this wheel of ever happenings that don't even mean anything afterwards, right? So he was telling that, he was sharing that the awakening or the pure self is effortless without even touching a beer, not like beer what you drink, but a beer, how is it? A beer small grass dot, like without even touching the smallest thing in the most beautifulest and largest flower yard or territory or plain, grassland plain, without touching the smallest dot. It's allowing the universe and trusting the universe that it has its own way in this. I don't change anything, I don't affect anything, because by doing this, it's the most blissfulest way for the universe to itself find balance by itself. So I don't change it. I allow some will say God, some will say life force, some will say cosmic consciousness, some will say higher understanding, or the duality itself to make things in a harmony, in balance. Now, this applies to nearly all. I mean, not like nearly all, to all those things, but I can only explain a few of those things. Would be, if you are in deep worries or deep stress or fear, don't worry about it. Life will put you back into harmony. If you are in high bliss, like enjoying your life, being excited, running around, dancing around, don't worry. There will also be, especially in our life, in our planet here, there will also be a negative experience, but you will have. Don't worry about that. Don't be disappointed about negative things. Don't be overexcited about positive things, because it's the way of life. It's the way of life how it balances itself, right? So by changing things, by trying to brutally change things in our life, we could only make them worse. By like people that fight against terrorism, they run around the streets, and doing crazy stuff. Just allow the life to be as it is. Just allow it to be as is. It will find its way. So, and then Enrico was talking. He was continuing to talk about, people. I know that was a crazy channeling. People ask about many bad things, like, will I be punished after life? He said, punished? No. Nobody punishes you. Nobody will punish. Nobody is actually here to punish you. He said the only thing which will happen if you think you have done bad things in your life will be that once you ascend to the higher bliss state, there will be so much heartfulness and heartfulness energy that will blossom through you, from you, within you, and out from you, that you will just feel the sadness of those things that you have done. Nobody is there to punish you. Like an example, you drive with your car and you drive over a seal, for example, or a hedgehog or something, or a mouse, and then you are like sad at that moment. So much sadness from you arises after a moment, and then you're like, oh my God, I did bad. I should have driven a little slower and maybe try to avoid it. I was driving too fast at that point, right? And you feel this sadness. Now imagine when a tremendous amount of love blossoms through you, like a tremendous amount of blissfulness and heartfulness strives and runs through you and shines through you, and you are within this light, and this light comes out of you, and you are like, oh my God, I didn't say thanks to my relatives, I didn't say good things to people I met on the streets. You have so much guilt of, I needed to be a little bit better, like, I'm really sorry about that, but it's not about that you are being judged about something in your life. It's not about that. It's about that your heartfulness, your heart, you yourself, just awake to this pure heartfulness and love, you would say, that you yourself just understand that, oh my God, I was in such a darkness. How was I? I was like so far away, and I feel so sad about those things. So nobody's there to punish you. You will just understand those things that maybe are somewhere within you, and you'll remember them for a moment, and you'll be, oh, I will never do that again, or I will try to express more love, or maybe I will just try to express more heartfulness, etc. So the next thing is also strange about yesterday's channeling was that people asked about, is it good or bad? Is it for example, is eating grass good or bad? Right? There were many things about. Actually, I don't remember, but the idea I remembered that people asking about, is that bad? Is that bad? Or is that bad? They're asking about, is that bad? Or is that bad? Or is like everything is bad, right? Or the news is bad, and etc. Government is bad, all these things. And Enrico looks upon them and says, well, you're like, without any understanding of yourself, you're like so misled by so much of the information around you. It's like a crow, like this black bird sitting on your shoulder and yelling you inside, quack, quack, like this is bad, don't do this. And then there, on the other side, there is a pigeon, bright white pigeon, like goddess or maybe something. He's telling you, do this, like, and you are with so many crows and pigeons and birds, and you're like blast through with these birds around you, and you don't actually have no clue of what are you doing, why you are doing this, and you're just following whatever somebody said. You're believing it without any understanding of it. I mean, like, in news said that, or not in news, on public media or websites said that eating rice is bad. On the other hand, eating rice is good. And so many things that you're just brainwashed. You're just believing some nonsense to be true to other nonsense to be true, like from one nonsense to the other nonsense to be true. And then Enrico turns to them and says, well, you're just listening to these crowds or this whatever it is. It says, you have to understand that, well, I don't remember how exactly he told, but he told that you have to understand that when have you spent time to find your own truth? When have you been with your own truth? And when have you been yourself? It's like, when you are your true self with the joyful and happiness, your life is filled with the things that you do that give you more joy. It's like you're filled with your own ideas, you're filled with your own energy, you're filled with your own doingness. And there was an image like the crows are sitting on the side of the fence on the garden and screaming at you, rah, 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 don't do this, do this. And the person is not doing anything. He's just sitting there and thinking, that is bad. Crow said that there will be flood, ice age, no electricity, and blah, 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 blah. And the crowd was like, okay, whatever, I will just go to another yard and scream something else there, like without no big deal, right? And people lose their self. They lose it. and they start believing all these mind stories, these chanters, these other books that they have read, and they start believing them, and they start, they believe them so dearly, so badly, and they forgot about their self. What is the self? Which experience your life, your experience, and then there was this image of an opposite person who's like, gardening, planting some new flowers, and that opposite person who doesn't listen to crowds is like so filled with energy of its own ideas, its own inspirations, its own doingness, right? You have the idea to do this, you are doing it without any judgment, like from 30 other books or crowds that told you this, told you that, told you this. You're out without any judgment. You're just doing it. You're just doing the things which inspire you. And those people are full with energy. They're full with sparkling, shining, and blossoming energy. And they're just in the movement. They're in the hype. So that was the information about those bad things. Now, I think I shared enough information. I think a little bit more than I should. If the universe, like Danica is selling, not like selling, she's telling. If the universe is ever expanding, does that mean that good and bad activities increase as well? Good and bad activities of humans. I think there is one idea about the universe is actually ever growing, and the planets are getting bigger and bigger, and trees are growing, and the planet gets larger and larger and larger, and blah 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 blah. I think the idea is also that actually there is a little bit more positiveness in the duality. Like there is a little more creativity in duality, like for creation. There is a little bit more. Like good things a little bit more than the negative things, right? Yeah, but that also means that the more we try to make more louder positive things, more expanded positive things, more brighter positive things in our life, like the more we try to advertise, run, do all sorts of things, the more of that we create the opposite thing. It's like, like in protests, protest campaigns, people are fighting for, I don't know, for example, for something. And the more they start fighting harder and harder, the more the opposite side, like the police and the whatever it is, the opposite side is getting more difficult and more difficult and more difficult. The more intention, the more energy you put into it, you will also use more energy and more effort to put you back in the balance where you should be. So I think that, and partially this also answers the question, is that if there is more and more balance, that there are more not so far opposite sides. Like there is not such a huge gap, not such a huge volatility of different variations of good or bad. But it's not about good or bad. It's not only about good or bad. It's also about ideas. Like we divide ourselves into people that listen rock music, we listen to meditation music and like hip hop and etc. But also these ideas have their opposite side, and they start to fight with each other. Like, maybe not like fight with. The more we start creating the opposite idea of it, the universe creates the opposite idea. But basically, you can say also that we create the opposite idea. And then at that moment, when you sit down and you think about all of this, and then you realize that all your thoughts, all your ideas that you want to do is simply just to universe making balance about the opposite things. Like we have a small wish that affects our life. Like we have a small wish that changes things in our life to the best positive way that we wish for, that guides us there, that attracts those things to our life there. But then you realize that if the universe is itself balancing itself, then might as well just sit here in the beautiful sunny day and just enjoy the magnificence of this life without even touching a finger to those many things that go on in our life, those many things that go on in life. For example, if there were people that were really like angry or getting angry, they need meditation, that person who meditates, universe will call and say, hey, you have to go to meditate. And he's like, no, I will not go, I'll just enjoy life here as well. And then life will push him down, like maybe you need to meditate, maybe you need to earn something. Life will make him do those meditations for those people, like who wish for, because those people were so much in their office works and everywhere where they were so far away from meditation. So even if you just think there that you could be just sunbathing and enjoying the beautiful, amazing life there, what's going on, even then somebody or universe will understand that you could feel a void or you could feel a balance. You will have a purpose to feel the balance in the life, and the universe will find you how you could do it. Also, another comparison we talked about yesterday was there are like equally amounts of people born and equally amounts of people die out, just from age or whatever. The more people wish to be born, the more people will die eventually, and or the more people are being born, the more people will need to go away, right? And I forgot what I wanted to tell about this. Oh yeah, so and the more our let's say medicine or whatever gets evolved in a way, I don't know, the super medicine will live for long times and everything, the more it gets better, the more unpredicted things will take the life from others. So the more we try to fight against the balance of the life, the more we create imbalance in our life. So just enjoy and allow the life to be joyful, or to be the life enjoyable, and just witness and be amazed how the universe itself balances everything. I know it's a large topic that I've yet not covered completely, but I think I will find the words or a couple of sentences to explain it in a much better and simpler way. But by now, I'm very thankful for you that you watch these videos, and see you guys soon on some other videos. Bye.